Chapter 46 Farm 1. The car sped along the asphalt road, quickly leaving the urban area behind, and a vast open space appeared ahead. Jiang Ran realized that there was undeveloped land to the west of the safe zone. He now understood that there was an undeveloped piece of land to the west of the safe zone. Rows of modern vegetable greenhouses were neatly arranged on one side, while the adjacent black soil lay barren, devoid of vegetables or weeds. There was a circle of iron fences around the edge of the land, with high-voltage warning signs on them. Surrounding the land were low, simple houses, encircled by tall buildings. This seemed to be a developing urban village within the safe zone. Rao Meng and the others stopped their idle chatter, curiously looking at the outside scenery. Clearly, they hadn't expected such a place within the safe zone. Due to the high temperatures, most of their activities as taskers were concentrated in the eastern area. They had hardly been to this side, let alone ordinary survivors. Looking at the orderly greenhouses, Fu Wenbo exclaimed, "Wow, I can't believe there's such a place in the safe zone." Zhong Chang's gaze, however, was on the barren black soil. With this much land, planting crops could feed quite a few people. It's a shame there's nothing planted on it. Guo Yu gave a cold laugh. Even if they plant something, it's not like it would be our turn. Their conversation was killed by this comment, but the group still curiously gazed outside. The pre-apocalyptic scenery was truly captivating. Following the road, the car arrived at a large iron gate where the security was tight. Guards at the entrance were armed and vigilant, securing the entrance to the farm. The car stopped at the gate, and several guards approached. With a clatter, the gate was pushed open, and a guard with a dark face looked at the group. "Get out of the car and undergo inspection. You're not allowed to bring anything from outside. The farm will provide equipment for you." "What?" Rao Meng furrowed her brows in displeasure at the farm's attitude. Even if the farm didn't treat them as VIPs, they should still be treated with some courtesy. Guarding against them like thieves, wasn't that going a bit too far? Jing Wenbiao had a hot temper. As a tasker, he had always been held in high regard. Being treated like this now infuriated him. He glared at the guard angrily. "We're here to solve a problem, not criminals. Why are you treating us like this?" Guo Yu didn't say anything, but his expression darkened significantly. Jiang Ran watched quietly. This behavior was in line with the demeanor of a wealthy person. Zhong Changde and Fu Wenbo dared not speak up. They were just ordinary people, too afraid to confront armed guards with equipment. The guard's face remained cold. "These are the rules of the farm. If you disagree, you can take the car back." They had come this far, it was impossible to turn back now. The group reluctantly got out of the car and handed over their backpacks and weapons, submitting to the guard's inspection. The guard found quite a few cold weapons like daggers and short knives in their backpacks, as well as some homemade iron spikes and small cones. Jiang Ran didn't have a backpack, he only had a multifunctional pocket knife in his pocket. Jing Wenbiao sneered, "You came to complete the mission with just this little knife, are you serious?" Fu Wenbo looked at Jiang Ran curiously. The others didn't say anything but also assessed Jiang Ran, trying to figure out if she had any strength. Jiang Ran smiled calmly. "A small knife is still a weapon. It can kill evolved creatures if used skillfully." The guard wasn't concerned about what weapons they had or their strength. He dumped the confiscated weapons into a box and said coldly, "You can go in now." The iron gate slowly opened, and the group followed another guard's lead, walking towards the modern greenhouses in the distance. As they got closer, they noticed that the greenhouses were connected by semi-transparent glass passages, resembling an artificial fortress. After passing the greenhouses, a 3-story building appeared ahead. This should be the management area of the farm. A man in a black uniform stood in front of the greenhouse. The guard nodded slightly at the man before turning around and leaving. Quickly scanning the group, the man smiled and introduced himself. "Hello, I'm Cheng Tao, the manager of the farm. Please follow me, and I'll give you a brief overview of the farm's situation." "Right this way." Cheng Tao led the way while explaining the farm's situation as they walked. The farm had a total of 18 greenhouses, arranged in 3 rows of 6 each, with interconnecting passages on all sides. Cheng Tao mentioned that the greenhouses were constructed using the latest pre-apocalyptic technology, making them quite defensive. Evolved creatures trapped inside couldn't escape, but they also couldn't enter, hence the need for people to go in and clear them. As they listened to Cheng Tao's explanation, Jiang Ran observed the nearby greenhouses. They didn't seem much different from his description. In a short while, the group arrived at a resting room. As they reached the door, they heard arguing from inside. "What the hell do you mean? Do you want to fight? When I was out there, you didn't even know where you were." "Humph, being older doesn't make you any better. In this post-apocalyptic world, strength is king." Jiang Ran walked to the door and saw the scene inside. A young man in his 20s and a man in his 40s with heavily tattooed arms were locked in a confrontation. 2 other men stood nearby trying to mediate. Seeing Cheng Tao appear at the door, the people inside immediately fell silent. The young man and the tattooed man glared at each other disdainfully before each stepping aside, looking at Jiang Ran's group as they entered. Cheng Tao wasn't concerned about their argument. He still wore his professional smile and turned to the newcomers. "Let me explain the rules to you first. You can't damage the greenhouses, and you can't extensively destroy the vegetation inside. Especially not in greenhouse number 8, that must be left intact. If you successfully eliminate evolved creatures, each of you will receive 100 kilograms of food and 20,000 points." "Bothersome." Jing Wenbiao grumbled discontentedly, but he didn't say much. Even if the employer's requirements were strange, they had to endure. Afterward, several staff members brought in a wooden box. "What's this?" Everyone looked curiously as the box was opened, revealing various types of cold weapons, mostly knives and swords, along with smaller axes and hammers. There were even smaller wolf-tooth clubs. Seeing the weapons in the box, Jiang Ran furrowed his brows. "Aren't there a lot of bugs in the greenhouse? Wouldn't using fire be better?" The tattooed man was also dissatisfied. "Why are all these cold weapons? Give us some firearms and ammunition. Killing them one by one, when will it end?" Cheng Tao smiled at the two. "Fire might damage the vegetation inside, so it's not allowed." Rao Meng furrowed her brows. "With this rule, the difficulty of clearing will be much higher, and the danger we face will increase exponentially." Jiang Ran also felt puzzled. Were they taking things too seriously? Did they really not care about their lives? Or was there something fishy inside the greenhouse? Could the people from the farm already know about the firefly stoneworm? But then he dismissed the idea. It couldn't be true. If someone really knew about the firefly stoneworm, the farm wouldn't let outsiders in at all. They would have looted it themselves long ago. It was more likely that there was some kind of evolved plant inside the greenhouse. What could it be?